Hey guys, it's Mark McCafferty again. Just wanted to touch base with you on some intervals within an octave. Say from C4 to C5 is what we're going to use as our examples today. So behind me there's this giant complicated chart that's actually really simple and follows some patterns. Remember, music is made up of patterns and it's made up of sounds. Make sure that anytime you're thinking about all of this writing kind of stuff that you're actually relating it back to the piano or the guitar or something that generates pitch, so that you develop that knowledge of the academic side plus the oral side where you're actually hearing what we're describing. Remember, these are just words to describe phenomena that we already hear within pitch. So today we're going to talk about intervals. Our first interval is actually no distance between it at all. It's two people playing a C4. Imagine that we had two pianos and both of them played this pitch. That's a middle C, C4. Well, that would be called playing a unison interval. There's no space between it. There's no steps, there's no half steps, no whole steps, no other kind of interval between it. It's just a unison. So, unison, and notice here it says 0 half steps. I like to identify intervals by half steps. It's super easy to do it that way on the piano. You can also identify intervals within the major scale. If you know all your scales, that's a great way. It's actually how I learned how to do it the first time. But I've since come to think that when I'm teaching students, going through the half steps is the quickest way to get there, because not everybody knows all their major scales, but everybody can figure out what a half step is. If you don't know your major scales, learn your major scales. It'll make you a better musician. Anyway, so 0 half steps for a unison. It's just this, right? If we go to C to D flat, listen to that. There's space between those two notes. We already know about whole steps and half steps, but that is a half step. If we played it melodically, right, you can hear that. You can also hear it harmonically, right? So that's called a minor second. And notice that the abbreviation is a little m and a 2. So a lowercase m and a 2 for a minor second. Almost always in the music world, you can assume that if something is lowercase, it's going to be minor, and if it's uppercase, it's going to be major. Not always, but you know, it's kind of a subjective art anyway, so just take it with a grain of salt. Lots of times, minor is lowercase, major is uppercase. Just helps us delineate things. This is especially true when we do Roman numerals later. So anyway, C to D flat has 1 half step in space. That space is 1 half step. So there's 1 half step to make a minor second. Well, if we can have 1 half step, we can have 2 half steps. There's 1, there's 2. So from C to D, 2 half steps, that's a major second. Major second, 2 half steps. Notice that C to D in any form is a second. So C to D flat is a second. It happens to be a minor second because it's just the 1 half step. But the C to D is a major second. It's 2 half steps, it's major second. Another way to think about that is C to D is an interval you'd find in the major scale. You would not find C to D flat in the major scale, not normally. It's an extension and all those other kinds of things. We can get into that later. Our next interval, if we have seconds, we can have thirds, right? So if we go C, D, now we're on E. So C, D, E, if you're counting on the staff. C, D, E, that's 3. Go ahead and count the starting note too, right? C, D, E. It's some kind of third. Is it minor or major? Well, how do we tell? If it's E flat, then it's a minor third. One of the ways to think about that is that E flat's not in the major scale. Another way to think about that is that it's 3 half steps. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. C to E flat. Hear it? Sorry about that. C to E flat, right? That's harmonically played together. That interval, that space is a minor third. C to E is 4 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 half steps. C to E, major third, capital M, 3. If we can have thirds, we can have fourths, right? C to F. Starts Here Comes the Bride, right? So C to F is called a perfect fourth. Perfect fourth. That has to do, for right now, you can just think about, that it happens to have that name. It has to do with how the frequencies work, whether it's perfect. You can get into that later on. So anyway, perfect fourth, 5 half steps. C to D flat, D flat to D, D to E flat to E, E to F. That's 5 half steps. 5 half steps is a perfect fourth. Also, C, D, E, F. That's 4 notes away, so it's a type of fourth. Being 5 half steps make it perfect. We can have another type of fourth that actually has 3 different names. Why? Because they all make sense. So anyway, C to F sharp. Yeah, I like that one. C to F sharp or G flat, if we're thinking on it in harmonically, right, is called a tritone or an augmented fourth because it's just slightly bigger than a fourth, right? Augmented just makes it bigger. Or a diminished fifth because it's just smaller than a fifth. And we haven't gotten to the fifth, but we are soon. So 6 half steps. A tritone is kind of special because it is exactly equidistant between an octave. Remember that an octave has, in the Western scale, has 12 semitones, right? So there's 12 equal steps between C4 and C5. In other words, between C4 and C5. There are 12 steps between them, right? So the 6 steps, C to C sharp or D flat to D, D to E flat to E, E to F, F to F sharp. That's a tritone. You may recognize it, depending on your generation, from The Simpsons or Maria from West Side Story. Either one. You may also recognize that a lot of train whistles have an interval or tritone. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. They'll have a couple of tritones stacked on top of each other. So a tritone is also called an augmented fourth or a diminished fifth, abbreviated A4 or D5. Usually you don't see it as TT, but you could because then it's tritone, right? Usually you see tritone written out, or you would see the A4 or D5 as an abbreviation. C to G. Listen to it. You might have heard that in a famous movie about Jedi. Oh, they didn't miss their notes though. That's a perfect fifth. Again, perfect. It has to do with the frequencies, and you can research that on your own. 7 half steps. C to C sharp, C sharp to D, D to E flat or D sharp, E flat to E, E to F, F to F sharp to G. That's our 7 half steps. Perfect fifth. If we've got 7 half steps, well, we could have 8 half steps, and that's going to be a minor 6. Listen to it. Right? C to A flat, minor 6. You actually find that in the minor scale. You wouldn't find it in the major scale. If you have 8 half steps, you can have 9, which is a C to A, which is a major 6. Always liked. Anyway, C to A, major 6, 9 half steps. If you can have 9, you can have 10. It's a minor 7th, little m, so lowercase m, 7. And that's C to B flat, C to B flat. Another famous space thing there. But anyway, C to B flat, 10 half steps. 11 half steps is just short of a perfect octave. It's a major 7th. Major 7th. C to B, major 7th, capital M, 7, 11 half steps. C4, to C5 is called a perfect octave, or P8, capital P8, capital P5, capital P4, right? For your perfect intervals. 12 half steps. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. You can also see that, it's going to be jerky for a minute. Sorry about that. You can also see that on the piano, to C and hear. C, that's a minor second. C to D, major second. C to E, major third. I skipped one. Remember, C to E flat is a minor third. C to F is a perfect fourth. C to F sharp is a tritone. C to G is a perfect fifth. C to A flat is a minor sixth. C to A is a major sixth. C to B flat is a minor seventh. C to B is a major seventh. And C to C is a perfect octave. I would highly encourage you to sing all of those intervals while playing them on the piano. I would also encourage you that if you're in my class, and this is in week 2, and we just did major scale solfege, that if you can sing all of your intervals with the correct chromatic solfege, which we haven't done yet, but you can certainly find on Google, you'll get some bonus points. This is Mark McCafferty. Check out your music theory and keep it real. Peace!